Could worrying about the apology actually be adding to your burnout? Let's make it so that's not the problem. Do you ever find yourself replaying conversations over and over and over again in your head, especially after a mistake, thinking, did I say enough? Did I take too much blame? Did I mess up everything? If you are in healthcare or any high pressure role, you know how heavy those moments can feel. Hi there, I'm Dr. Santina Wheat. I'm a family physician, an educator, and a career and life coach. I help healthcare professionals move from chaos to calm by reconnecting with their purpose and creating a space for balance and peace. And today, we are diving into a crucial but often overlooked skill: how to apologize effectively without over-identifying with guilt. Because here is the truth. You can be accountable and kind to yourself. You can acknowledge your mistakes without believing you are the mistake. And remember, we have to embrace our imperfections. And so when we have them, how do we respond? So let's start by why we over-apologize in healthcare. So in healthcare, the stakes are high. People trust us with their lives, and that responsibility doesn't just stay at work. It stays with us in our bodies, in our thoughts, and impacts our sleep. Perfectionism and people-pleasing runs deep in our profession. We want to show that we care, and we want to be dependable. And sometimes we confuse our guilt with our responsibility. But guilt, when left unchecked, can morph into shame. Guilt says, I made a mistake. Shame says, I am a mistake. And shame is exhausting. It drains the energy you need to learn, grow, and keep showing up. Now, you don't have to apologize to prove your worth. It's not your worth that is on trial. But to apologize well, we have to know what makes a healthy apology. A strong apology does not require you to shrink. It asks you to step up with clarity, with empathy, and a path forward. So what does that look like in actuality? Well, let's break it down. First, there's the clarity. Say what happened clearly and without self-depreciation. It is not, I am so bad at this, I always mess up. Instead, it is, I made this mistake. I missed the deadline for submitting that report, or whatever it might be. This keeps the focus on the action of the mistake and not on your identity as a person. Second is empathy. It is important to demonstrate that you understand the impact. It helps the other person feel seen. Try, I realize this delay may have caused stress or affected your planning. I understand how frustrating that must be. On the other side of it, when someone doesn't acknowledge that they've missed a deadline and doesn't acknowledge the impact it had on me, it's really frustrating. And half the battle for me is acknowledging what that challenge is. So personally, I always really appreciate when someone uses this empathy as part of the apology. And then that brings us to number 3, repair. Outline what you are doing to make it right or to prevent it next time. You might say, I have set up a reminder system in place to avoid missing important dates in the future. I really appreciate your patience with me. And if you're not sure how to fix this, this is a great time to ask for support and say, I'm not sure how to fix this. Do you have any ideas or solutions? But on the other hand, I want to share a tip about when you don't need to apologize. You do not have to apologize for someone else's discomfort with your boundary or for things that you cannot control. That is not accountability. That is emotional labor that you just do not need to carry. Okay, now let's talk about managing the guilt and letting it go. So guilt is hard and it lingers even after the apology. First, it's important to know that guilt isn't all bad. It is a sign that you care. But like a smoke alarm, it's only helpful if you use it to take action. If you let it beep endlessly, it's just additional noise and baggage. But here's a couple of ways that you can let go of excessive guilt. You can shift from guilt to growth. Instead of spiraling with, why did I do that? Ask yourself, what's the one thing I will do differently next time? This moves you out of shame and into strategy. You could also journal or voice note your thoughts. Processing them helps you release the emotional charge. You could use prompts such as these. What happened? What part of what happened was mine to own? What can I learn? And what do I want to let go of? You can also practice self-talk that you would give to a peer. Many of us talk so much worse to ourselves than we would to our friends. If your colleague made the same mistake, would you tell them that they are terrible? Probably not. Instead, you can say, I handled that imperfectly, but I am going to do the work to make it right. And then an answer is always pause and breathe. When you feel guilt bubbling up, take 3 deep breaths and ask yourself, is this guilt guiding me or is it grinding me down? You are not just allowed to consider forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself is actually essential if you want to keep showing up with clarity and compassion for others and for yourself. So let's bring this back all together. It's important to remember that you are human. You are going to make a mistake. You are human. You're going to make mistakes. None of us are perfect. But how you handle those mistakes, that is what builds trust and character. And as a quick recap, healthy apologies include clarity, empathy, and repair. You do not need to beat yourself up to be accountable. Guilt is a message. It is not a sentence. Now, you are allowed to lead with heart and protect your health. That is not a weakness. That is wisdom. And the more you give yourself permission to be human, the more space you create for others to do the same, well, that is powerful leadership, and that helps you grow. So here is my question for you. What is one way that you have learned to manage guilt more gently? Or what is one area where you would like to? I hope you'll share it in the comments below. And if this video resonated with you, I hope you'll hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. And please share this video with a friend or a colleague who might need to also hear it. And if you are ready to take these skills deeper, to lead with calm, to show up with purpose, and to stop letting guilt drive the bus, I hope that you will check out my free on-demand masterclass, Pathway from Chaos to Calm. I've linked it in the description below. And if you're interested in more one-on-one work, please feel free to message me and we can talk about what that would look like. Thank you for watching. Be well, be kind to yourself, and I hope to see you next time.